Quick disclaimer before we start on these predictions for the AL and NL West. I understand games have been played, all that type of stuff. So I haven't really looked at the standings very much. I've tried to veer away from them, mainly in the NL and AL West because I haven't done them yet. But I have checked on injuries, that sort of thing. So I will make some remarks towards them in that regard. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the NL West. So the NL West looks to be an interesting division this year. You've obviously got lots of power at the very top, and then some teams who could surprise some people. So at number 5, fifth place, I have the San Francisco Giants going 24-36. Their manager is Gabe Kapler coming over from the Phillies, replacing Bruce Bochy, longtime manager who retired. And this team is basically stuck in limbo. So their lineup, they have some big names here, some recognizable guys, but they're either a little too old or some young guns who aren't quite ready to make a really big impact yet. So you have guys like Brandon Belt, Wilmer Flores here, Pablo Sandoval, Hunter Pence comes back from his stint at the Rangers, Alex Dickerson, Evan Longoria, Austin Slater. You have Mike Yastrzemski, Brendan Crawford, Mauricio Dubon. They did lose Buster Posey. He opted out of the season. Kevin Pillar is also gone. And Stephen Vogt also left. Catcher they had. Their starting rotation, they do have some pieces, but nothing really to write home about. They have Jeff Samardzija. He's really their ace here, their veteran, if you will. Johnny Cueto as well will put in some solid innings for them. He's trying to bounce back from a sort of rough year last year. You have Kevin Gossman, Drew Smiley, and Logan Webb, some guys who will get some looks as well. They do lose Madison Bumgarner, which really sucks for them. He was like their premier ace. He was their guy for years. And it's going to be weird seeing him at the Diamondbacks. This bullpen, they also lost a key piece here, that being their closer, Will Smith. They still have guys like Wandy Peralta and Sean Anderson in relief. Their new guy who will probably be closing out games will be Tony Watson. They also have Trevor Gott, Tyler Rogers. But like I said, Will Smith, who is one of the best closers in the game. Leaving this team definitely stings, and that will definitely cost them some games. So this team, to me, you're still basically waiting. You know, the young guys aren't quite ready yet. The old guys aren't quite ready to retire yet. So the Giants, to me, are stuck in limbo with a record of 24-36, the bottom of the NL West. Next, the Colorado Rockies. I have them in fourth place, going 30-30. Their manager is Bud Black. And these guys are all offense, basically no defense. These guys will score a lot of runs, but they will also get scored on a lot. The high altitude at Coors Field, they will mash some home runs. They have this big power lineup. You've got guys such as Trevor Story, Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, Daniel Murphy, David Dahl, Matt Kemp is here as well, Garrett Hampson. They didn't really lose anybody in the lineup. And then your rotation, they have a solid top 3, but it does get pretty shaky after that. It seems like they're just kind of throwing guys out at that point. You have Herman Marquez, John Gray, and Kyle Freeland as your top 3. Then you can expect to see some looks from Antonio Senzatella, Chichi Gonzalez, Jeff Hoffman's another guy who could get some looks. They do lose Chad Bettis this offseason at the starting rotations. And then their bullpen, it is shaky at best. This is definitely the weakest part of their team. You have Daniel Bard in relief after a 7-year hiatus. He's back. You have Tyler Kinley as well, who will get some relief looks. Their closer will be Wade Davis. They also have Scott Oberg, but he did just get diagnosed with some blood clottage, so that may spell the end of his... I don't know if it'll spell the end of his career, but definitely put a halt to this season from the looks of it. You have Carlos Estevez as well, and Jairo Diaz. So this team always will have the power bats. They'll always have that home run power. They'll always put on a good show for your team. But when it comes to the important stuff, which is that fourth or fifth guy in the rotation, the bullpen, besides Wade Davis, who even still can be a little shaky at times, how well can they do? And to me, I just don't see them doing any better than fourth place in this division. Next up, Arizona Diamondbacks. I have them going 32-28. Their manager is Torey Lavuyo. Pardon me. They are a solid team. They just don't quite have the push to get over the next two teams ahead of them. Their lineup, they have plenty of big names here. You've got Ketel Marte, young second baseman who broke out last year, Christian Walker, Eduardo Escobar. Starling Marte comes over from the Pirates, Cole Calhoun from the Angels. They do lose Wilmer Flores, Alex Avila, Gerard Dyson. As for the rotation, they have some feisty veterans who are here who will probably do well, but what about the young guys? How will they do? That's the big question mark. Mom's leaving again, I see. You have Madison Bumgarner, who, as we said before, comes over from the Giants. He'll put out some solid innings. You have Robbie Ray. You have Zach Gallen, who will put in some solid innings for them. He's only 24. You have Merrill Kelly as well, and Luke Weaver on the rotation. They did lose Taijuan Walker and Gerard Dyson. Their bullpen is pretty solid, though. You have Hector Rendon, Kevin Ginkel, Steve Crichton. And then for your closer, you have Archie Bradley here. He's their full-time guy. Junior Garrett comes over from the Brewers. Andrew Chaffin, as well as set up, although they do lose Yoshihisa Hirano. So overall, I think the squad just needs like one or two more big impact names. Mainly, I would say on the pitching side, if they can get one more really solid ace in there to fill out that 2 or 3 spot, or maybe even get a guy alongside Bumgarner, give him some competition in his latter years. So this squad overall, once again, needs a couple more pieces to challenge in this big offensive division. So I have them in third place going 32-28. Next up, San Diego Padres. I have the San Diego Padres going 34-26 in second place in the NL West. Their manager is Jace Tingler. Overall, this squad is so talented. They got a decent amount of players, really good. I think they would win a lot of other divisions in the MLB, just not this one, because the number one team is just that good, frankly. So their lineup, they have a must-watch team, really. You've got Fernando Tatis here, bright young star. Manny Machado, who will always do well. You've also got Tommy Pham at DH. Sorry about that, four-wheelers going by. Tommy Pham at DH comes over. You have Eric Hosmer here, Trent Grisham from the Brewers, my Brewers. We forgive you, Trent, for that bobbled ball. They didn't really lose anyone on offense. The rotation, some young guys, a lot of pressure to perform on them. Chris Paddock, this is his second year. He's 24 years young. He should put in some solid innings, be their ace. Zach Davies comes over from the Brewers in the trade for losing Luis Urias. You have Dinelson Lamet, who put in some innings. Garrett Richards, as well as Joey Lucchesi. Also, Mackenzie Gore is another name to watch out for. He's a young guy in the minors who will get some looks probably sometime this year. He might get called up. And then their bullpen looks really good. You have for relief Craig Stamen, Matt Strom. And then closer-wise, you have who I think should have won reliever of the year. You have Kirby Yates. He got robbed of that. Josh Hader should not have won it. And then you have Emilio Pagan as another setup guy. They bring in Drew Pomeranz, who had a really solid second half last year with my Brewers. Sad we didn't keep him. And they didn't really lose anybody. So overall, this is a great-looking team. But it sucks because they just have a Dodgers-sized hump to get over, really. And they still are just going to have to wait and pray that somehow all the Dodgers players either get hurt, retire, sign with somebody else. All the works there. Man, there's a lot of traffic going on right now. Very sorry about that. It's always something, right? Wouldn't be a Sports Porch episode if you didn't have something interrupting. That's just how the show is, I guess. That's the consequence of the situation, if you will. So anyway, I have them going, once again, 34-26, second place in the NL West. So this leaves us with one team, first place. I think you all can guess who it is at this point, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I have them going 38-22. That is my second highest prediction of any team, first being the New York Yankees. Their manager is Dave Roberts. Once again, these guys are a World Series contender, and they should be looked at as the guys to make it out of the National League, going up against who I think will be the Yankees. So you have this lineup, best in the league, bar the Yankees. You've got Cody Bellinger, top 3 player at any given moment. Mookie Betts, who they bring in, top 5 player, top 3 player at any given moment. You have Justin Turner, Corey Seager, Jock Peterson, Max Muncy, A.J. Pollock, Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux is a young guy they have. I could go on all day about the players they have on offense. They do lose Jed Jerko, but when you have talent like this, who really cares if you let an old guy or two go? Rotation-wise, still one of the best in the league. You've got Clayton Kershaw, who will put in good innings in the regular season, hoping you pick it up in the playoffs. You've got Walker Buehler, a young star emerging. We'll say emerged. He's a young star. Julio Urias, he'll put in some good work for them. He's a young guy, 23 years old. Alex Wood comes back. And you have Ross Stripling, who will round out the order. They did lose Hyun-Jin Ryu and Rich Hill. But I think with the young guys that they have, I think they'll be just fine. And then the bullpen, still elite. You still have, they bring in Blake Trinan to the squad from the A's, Bruce Dog, Gratterall. He has some nasty stuff there. Kenley Jansen, still one of the best relievers, closers in the game. Pedro Baez is here. He'll do really well. Aforementioned earlier in the episode, Joe Kelly, hashtag free Joe Kelly. Get him back on the field. We don't want him to deal with stupid stuff, such as suspensions for doing what's right. Anyway, Joe Kelly's here as well. They didn't really lose anybody in the bullpen either. So this team really should be looked at as the World Series contender from the National League. There's no question about that, right? They're going to do really well in the regular season. They always have. The question with them is, can they put it together in the playoffs? Because they haven't. For their standards, it's World Series or bust. And they just haven't done that the past couple of years. So I have the Dodgers going 38-22, winning this division, taking the top spot in the National League. So once again, to recap, I have the Giants in 5th place going 24-36. I have in 4th place the Colorado Rockies going 30-30. I have the Arizona Diamondbacks going 32-28. I have the Padres in 2nd place going 34-26. And in 1st place, I have the LA Dodgers going 38-22.